you have to
One
go
of
through
us.
that.
One
Yeah,
of
one
us.
of us. Yeah, you have to go through that. Like, you have to go through that. You have to hate Gowan to like
Yeah.
fully understand the depth of the Wheel of Time. But yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm with Rita, Maiden of the Spear. So excited. We are going to be talking about some characters that we are excited to see in season 3 of the Wheel of Time. And we might have picked some of the same characters.
Maybe.
Maybe, but I'm really excited to see what your first pick is.
Okay, first of all, hi. It's very nice to be
Hi.
back on the channel.
Welcome back.
Very excited to be here again. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so my first pick, I think it's one of the most obvious like characters. It's gotta be Elida
Yes, I
because
picked her
she's
too.
yeah, because like she's the new like villain. I mean, she's kind of a villain. She is a villain. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
She's the new like villain of season 3, and I'm really excited because I think she's a very like complex character, and she drives the plot forward in a very interesting way because she connects to a lot of plot lines and things that I really liked in the books. And I'm just really excited to see her, especially because of the actress that's rumored to be
Yeah.
playing her. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my god! I got so excited, even more than I already was. So yeah, I can't wait to see her like finally on
Have
screen.
you seen her in The Expanse by any chance?
No, I haven't seen the show. I want to, but yeah, I'm currently preoccupied watching Supernatural, so I haven't got the time.
Burning through all 500
Yeah,
episodes of Supernatural.
the things I do for Jason Ackles, am I right? No, the show is actually good. The show is good. But yeah,
So you should give it a shot sometime and just watch
yeah,
like
I know.
the first couple episodes because oh my gosh, like I've loved her in that show since it came out. And like I was one of those people where I was like fan casting her before the Wheel of Time TV show was even a thing. Like
Oh
I
my
had
god.
her as
Yeah.
Cad Swain, like in my like personal head canon. But I mean, I think it's very similar to what she played on The Expanse. So like if she is Elida, like she's so dynamic, but she also has this like really authoritative, she's just someone that you don't mess with. And I think the actress
Yeah.
can like handle that type of character so well. And Elida is like my dream situation would be a cold open in one of, you know, the first or second episodes where we actually get to see Morghese kind of like kicking Elida out of her service and being like, you're going back to Tarvalon. I don't know where my daughter is. My daughter is probably dead. She could be injured somewhere. Nobody knows where she's
Yeah.
at. And then like Elida being sent to Tarvalon, and then it's like a cut screen to Elaine, like very much not injured, like happily
Yeah.
flirting with Rand somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just
A
like,
cake, like a lemon cake or something. They're very
yeah,
happy. Oh my god. Yeah.
yeah. I know there's a lot of great Elida scenes, but is there anything in particular that you're just like really wanting for?
In season 3 or in general.
Yeah. Well, in general, really.
I mean, there's like a scene with Gwen later
Hmm.
on in
Oh,
the
yeah,
books,
that
like
one.
very later on, that one. And I don't know the level of like spoilers for this video, so I don't want to like give too much away because it
Okay, how about
happens
for
in like
season 3 then?
okay, season 3. All right. Let me think. I think I just want to really see the dynamic between Morghese and Elida because they have like a weird, not like weird, but they definitely have like an interesting dynamic in my point of view, which is very like cut short. I think because we don't get to see them much interact, but I think that's one of the things Rafe and the writers could expand on because
Yeah.
she's Morghese trusts her. She trusts her and she thinks she's a very good advisor and she's like, oh yeah, I trust Elida. And I have like a headcanon, like I have something that I really want to see is, I don't know if you remember, but I think Rafe or the team said that the first 15 minutes of season 3 were like bonkers. Everybody was fighting. And I
Yeah.
think yeah, I think it's going to be White Tower related. Not
Mhm.
necessarily with Elida. I don't think it's going to be like Elida related at all, like something else. But I feel like after the whole chaos, I think it would be really cool if we see like Elida like at the last second be like, "Oh my god, this is all Swan's fault." Like, look what she has done. Like something
Mhm.
like that to like establish immediately where she stands, her opinions and what she thinks of like the White Tower.
Yeah, I really love that idea that the first 15 minutes or whatever that event is that it's, Black Aja stuff. And like you said,
Yeah,
Elida walking in after the fact and just being like, Swan Sanche, like you made a mess and I'm gonna
yeah.
clean it up. And then just kind of like taking over and kind of being that character that you love to hate. One of my favorite Elida moments is in New Spring, where I believe Moraine and Swan are outside of the White Tower, and they're doing something like with these lists and like gathering names and information from certain people. And I think Moraine like takes a lunch break, and at this time that she's kind of sitting there, Elida is like writing into Tarvalin, and you get this really quick interaction between Moraine and Elida. And I love like we get Moraine's point of view, like her thoughts as Elida's there, and she's thinking about how she's dressed and just saying like how like garish and like the bright red is like just only something a tinker would wear, and kind of just like turning her nose up at Elida, just like, who is this woman? Like, oh gosh, look at
Yeah.
her. Who does she think she is? Look at what she's wearing. And like it really sets off like this really interesting, I guess, moment between these two characters that don't really get a lot of time together in the main
Hmm.
series. So like I doubt we're going to see anything like that in season 3, but just that initial when someone, one of our characters or even us, as the audience watches, meets Elida, I hope that it's just really like intense, and I'm so excited to love to hate her.
Yeah. And I feel like Rafe can do something like really interesting with Elida, something that the book readers were also wondering as they read the books, especially like talking like about my experience. But it's that thing of like, is she Black Aja? Is she a bad person? What's her deal? Like, what's going on
Yeah,
here? Is she like, because I feel like first time viewers are gonna be like, is she Black Aja? Is she working Leandrin? Like, what's going on? And I feel like that whole question, it's something so interesting. And I feel like, especially because she's Red Aja, which is also the Aja
mhm,
of Leandrin, people can be like, what's going on? Like, is there a connection? Is there not a connection? I feel like
exactly.
that's a really cool thing that I really want them to leave it up to the open until we get like an answer later on.
Yeah, it's really good to put these kind of mysteries like as a side
Mm,
plot into the story, because it does, I think there's a lot of engagement with those types of things where the fans are online and like making theories and
yeah.
speculation. And of course, like, it's so easy to just like open up Google and find the answer. But I
Yeah.
think not everyone does that. So I think for people who haven't read the books, it's a really nice hook to like draw someone into like all of her words and actions and see like what she's doing, and get their magnifying glass out like Varen and be like, okay, what is she
Yeah.
talking about here? Who is she connected with? Like you said, like her relationship with Morghese, it's really interesting because we haven't got to see any of that yet. And I think Rafe did
Mm,
say that this season will contain bits of season 1 in it. So I'm hoping that at some
yeah, me
point like
too.
we get insight into that moment in book 1 where she's having, like these prophecies and, interpreting them
Yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
but but she's a really good pick. Now I have to scroll through my picks and make sure I pick a different one. This is, I can't believe I'm going to say this. This is so
Oh,
controversial.
okay. Let's hear it.
um Yeah, I'm really excited and looking forward to the Tricons. So like Gowan and Galad. So like
Okay.
These are not beloved characters in the fandom. A lot of people like really, really just don't like either of them. But I'll focus on Galad for now. He's such an easy target. But in the books, like he's a lot of people see him as like really annoying. Like he does all of the wrong things, and
Yeah.
the way that his storyline goes forward, it's almost like in any other series he could have been the hero, but in the Wheel of Time, he's just Gowan, like it's like he's
Yeah.
Ken. Like he's just
Easy.
there doing the wrong thing and making things worse most of the time. But like knowing that and knowing how the TV show has kind of taken characters that are just like, I guess maybe not so fun in the books, like a lot of the Forsaken can be kind of like one note in the books. You
Yeah.
have someone like Rafe and his team bringing in these new characters and like really making them something that like stands out. So I think it would be really interesting to see what he does with someone like Gowan, if he makes him more likable or even like more insufferable, where it's like, am I going to like him more? Am I going to hate him more? Like what's
Yeah.
his personality going to be the same? And then also, I have no idea how he's going to be introduced into the show because things are a little different. So I think that question makes me really interested in like seeing what's in store for Gowan.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if you remember, but back in like season two, before it aired, some scripts like were leaked or something like, and one of them was
Yeah.
Gawain, and I think Gawain was supposed to be on in like season two, but I think they made a less time call like, oh, okay, let's not put him in season two. But I agree with you. I think Gawain is a very interesting character. Regarding to his introduction, I think it would make sense to put him up with Morghese and Elida in Camelin because we know Camelin is gonna appear in season two because I think we have like the set or something like that. So
Yeah.
we know that's gonna be like a thing. And I think like maybe what drives him to move away, like Gawain, is Elaine. Like what happened to Elaine? She's my sister. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like Gawain is very annoying. But he loves his sister. Like he loves his sister. It's a thing. Like he loves her. I think Gawain is the definition of like you know that meme when like, oh, two like two dumbasses saying to each other exactly, like that's going to himself in the mirror. Like exactly, like we're doing the right thing, right? No,
Yeah.
Gawain, you're not. But I think I but like based on the script that was leaked, I really enjoyed the script. There was some humor, and I think Rafe is gonna play with that whole. Yeah, I think I'm like the thing, like I know I'm like
Yeah.
handsome. I know I'm like good, like that cocky thing that
Yeah.
Gawain kind of has like going on. I think he's gonna
Yeah.
play a little bit with that, which is gonna be fun because I feel like he's gonna be one of those characters that keep doing the wrong thing, but it's funny
Yeah.
and you're gonna like
No, it
laugh like
is.
yeah, it is.
It is because all of our, let's be honest, all of our male like main characters like Rand and Perrin and Matt, like they're going through some struggles. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
not a lot of happy time for them. Matt might be the exception because he kind of like makes his own fun, but
Yeah.
like a lot of these male characters are just so intense and kind of, like
Yeah.
sad and depressed, and we're waiting for them to kind of get their like, I guess like their main character arcs start to like turn into
Mm.
something. So like if you present them and then you have someone like a Gawain on the side who's just like comically
Yeah.
snobby and
Yeah.
awful and just full of himself, like I think it could make any scene that he's in and who he's acting with like really enjoyable because I don't know, like he adds something, I think, to the landscape of personalities, I
Oh
think.
yeah. I think it's gonna be one of those characters that people are gonna be like, he's so dumb that it's funny. Like it's so dumb. I don't know if Rafe is gonna like write him, and the writers are gonna write him as annoying as he is in the books. But I kind of want them to because it's a universal thing to dislike
Yeah.
Gawain. Like you have to
One
go
of
through
us.
that.
One
Yeah,
of
one
us.
of us. Yeah, you have to go through that. Like, you have to go through that. You have to hate Gowan to like
Yeah.
fully understand the depth of the Wheel of Time. But yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, like, what you said about him, like, loving his sister, I think is a really
mm,
good point too, because, like, he's got one job, like, one job, and it's protect Elaine. And Elaine is like, I don't need your protection.
I don't need
Bye.
you. Like,
And he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's just like, okay. So, like, I don't know, like, I think there's possibility for, like, a really fun Gawain storyline in there, and I say that as someone who, like, I don't I don't love this person,
yeah,
but I'm excited to see this person.
I feel like there's a lot of like, you could, with Gullet and Gawain, you can play that brother energy, like that banter, and I think that sibling
Yeah.
energy is very fun. I've always loved like that trope of like sibling like banter, and I think that's going to be something they could definitely explore. And like, I'm gonna tell you like a story of like one of my experiences when I was reading The Great Hunt. When Gawain first like appeared and he was talking to Egwene and Elaine, he was kind of funny. He was kind of like cocky, like kind of
Yeah.
funny, a little bit annoying, but like nothing too over the top. And I remember I was reading that for the first time, so I'm like, oh my god, who's this man? I love him so much. He's so fun. Like, he's funny. He's confident. I love him. And then everything went downhill as the books started going by. And that was a funny story because I had so much faith in him. I shouldn't. But yeah, he's a fun
Yeah.
character despite everything.
Yeah. So who did you have for your next one?
Okay. It's someone that I've always wanted to like cosplay and I haven't like gotten the time. And it's somebody that I think it's really underrated. And I have zero
Okay.
idea. I have zero idea if she's
Okay.
gonna be in season three, but I really want to. It's I don't know how to pronounce her name actually. Aludra? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Aludra.
Yeah.
Is it Aludra? Oh thank
Yeah.
God.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. No,
I
that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
I I love that woman. I love her. I feel like the moment she was introduced, her personality, like the way she introduces the Illuminators like plot, which isn't like, it isn't like a major plot line, but
Mhm.
it's a fun one. It's a fun one and it's interesting. And I really want her to be in season three. It's like I just want her to talk to Matt and maybe have a little bit of a fireworks scene with Matt. And I
Yeah.
want her to have that banter with Matt, like Matt being like, "Oh, she's pretty, I'm gonna flirt with her," and Aludra being like, "Okay, no, like, nah." Because I feel like that's the whole thing of like Aludra. I just love her so much, and she's not like very important to the overall storyline, but she's just like, she's such a fun character, and
She
she could have the Illuminators like plotline a little bit there, sprinkle.
Yeah, like her character, I mean, it's not a huge she doesn't play a huge role in terms of like who she is, but more in like what she does later on.
Yeah.
Like her
Mm.
inventiveness and her
Oh
intelligence and
yeah.
her personality make her really important to the story. But like going back and talking about like characters that are fun to see interaction with, she's the one character where you pair her with Matt and that scene is instantly going to be a 10, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, and
Did
I
you
feel like
see
she's go ahead.
did you see the theories that people have that she might be like Leandrin's son's daughter? Like because he's
Whoa.
Eludran. Yeah, yeah. This is it
Whoa.
might be it's out there.
Whoa.
It's out there because
Okay.
he was Eludran,
Oh yeah.
Leandrin's
Yeah.
son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so people were saying, like, what if Aludra is his daughter? And like
Oh
that's I mean, it's very telenovela, like it's giving very like soap opera, but I
yeah.
kind of like it.
Um, first of all, I completely forgot that like that whole name thing. I remember, oh
Yeah.
my god, Twitter like went insane. Everybody like was saying she got Aludra was that actor who was Leandrin's son, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
all right, I don't know. And then he turned out to be like Leandrin's son, which is like really funny. We discovered who it was. Like, okay, and that's honestly, I'd never heard of that theory before. I'm not gonna lie to you, but let me think on it because I feel like it could change a lot about like
Mhm.
Aludra. Like that connection to Leandrin is definitely something interesting. It would certainly make her more important and have more overall impact. Could be fun. It'd be
It's
fun.
it could definitely, I don't know, it could definitely be like a terrible choice. But it could
It's gonna
also like
it
it could
depends.
also, yeah, it could also be like just kind of like an Easter egg where she was like, yeah, my father's name is this. I was named after him. He died or something. And like that's it. That's all we
Yeah.
get. Like no interaction with Leandrin, like no whatever. So like I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know how certain I am on it, but I do
Yeah.
think that the fact that they named him that was
Yeah.
like it's a
Mm.
question mark.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I think it's too coincidental. Like
mhm.
that's like a choice. That's a name you picked, and why make it so similar? You know,
Yeah.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
something there. Maybe there's some. I'm
Yeah.
not
I
sure. It could
guess
be fun. It could be like a thing to explore. Okay.
yeah, for sure. All right. So my next one was it's one of the Forsaken and it's Grendel. And I just okay,
Yeah.
so this character I I love I love the fact that we have a Forsaken that is so like her personality is so entwined with like luxury and
Mm.
like seduction.
Yeah.
And we've seen a similar side, I think, with Lanfear because she is a
Yeah.
bit of like a seductress. But like the way that they've made Lanfear and how she so exceeded my expectations when she mentioned like, oh, Mogideon and Grendel in season 2, I was like, oh, so like Mogideon's a sure thing, Grendel's a sure thing. We got Mogideon, so that means we're most likely going to see Grendel, and I'm hoping she's in season 2 because this is a character I think purely just visually I want to see because of the costuming where like it's going to be so totally different than anything that we've seen yet.
Yeah. But, like, look, first of all, I just love how we say like the Forsaken's names. Like I pronounce it so differently from you, which is really funny.
Okay.
Like I say Grendiel. I don't know why. I
Okay.
just always said Grendiel, so I'm gonna go with it. But
I
yeah,
I don't care about pronunciations at all.
yeah. As
People
long
are
as
like
the name
Road
is
to
there,
Tarvalon or Road to Tarvalon. I'm like whatever you like,
whatever.
really.
Yeah. Um, but like Grendiel, look, the show is it like PG-13, right? I'm not sure. The show
I
is
think
it?
it's I think it's TV like MA, like for mature audiences, but not
Okay.
like R rated, but like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
below that.
All right. Because let's be honest, Grendiel, she has like her the way her costumes are. It's a little
Hmm.
bit like, can we show that? Like
Right.
fully show like that. So I think they have to make a few changes. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, not just because of ratings, because of the actress. Because I feel like it's important for the actress to be comfortable with what she's doing and not expose herself just for the sake of it.
Right.
I've never been too much like I've never wanted like liked when actresses were put like exposed with no like really like significance, like just for the sake of it, you know? So I
Right.
think
Right.
it's definitely something they have to arrange or like sort of like collab on with the actress that's going to play her.
Yeah.
Explore the limits, explore costumes, explore what the actress is comfortable with, that sort of thing. But I feel
Hmm.
like seduction and like sex and like appeal, it can be many things. I feel like people
Hmm.
often go to naked bodies, you know,
Right. Right.
expose things, and I feel like it could be a lot of things because like Lanfear, she was never exposed once, like her body was never exposed, and I
Mm-mm.
feel like she exudes sexual attraction. She has like a
Yeah.
dominance where she has like a power, and that's something that's also like a way to tell that side of Grandial, which is very important because of the whole compulsion thing. And
Mhm.
it's something that can be dodged, like not dodged, but like walked upon in a more tamed kind of way. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
I'm also
I
very
think
excited to see her. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with like in terms of like costuming and just how explicit they could make things, like
Hmm.
you said, I think it does come down to the individual and what they're comfortable with. But like you also said, there's ways around things to where like you don't have to actually show like naked bodies or nudity, but also just in terms of like the cut and how something fits and like how much skin
Exactly.
she's showing. Where like you don't have
Mm.
to have someone being naked. Sorry, I just heard thunder. But like there's also like I could picture a situation where like really low back on her like dresses and stuff where like the back of the gown comes down like almost
Oh
to
yeah.
like her bum, like just
Yeah.
where it's like it's
No, that's
tasteful, but
yeah.
that there's something about this character where it's just like everyone who kind of meets her gets kind of like sucked into her whole like compulsion
Drawn.
and how she
Exactly.
looks and how she acts. And I think as an actress, like that would just be such a fun role, especially if like you're into that. And so, like, if you're auditioning for that and it was a role you really wanted because you like how that character is, all of that combined would make for like just such a fun, I think, like visual experience for the show, especially like with our tweet two rivers innocent characters. And then you have someone like her show up and you're like, whoa, okay, that
Matt
took a
wouldn't last
turn.
1 second. Matt would be like, okay, I know that boy. I know him.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, uh, I was like thinking about that attraction and like that appeal kind of thing that I was
Hmm.
talking about. Then you mentioned, I just remembered like an actress, like a performance that I think may be an inspiration for Grandial. Do you know like the Batman movies, the Tim Burton ones, and Poison Ivy?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know that performance, and she's seductive and that whole like kiss poison kind of thing. And I
Hmm.
remember I was like 12 and I watched that movie for the first time. So I was like, oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I feel like that whole thing and the whole compulsion thing, it's something that could be very visually interesting because just imagine like the scene and then you see like things kind of blurry and like slow motion, something
Yeah.
is not quite right, something is off about
Yeah.
whatever the hell is going on with her. And she's such a great Forsaken, and I feel like she's one of the
Hmm.
best Forsaken. I really love her character. And I feel like people sometimes often the first thing they associate with her is sex. And yeah, it's
Hmm.
a part of her character, but she's very clever. She's smart.
She she
She's smart.
is. Like
And
the way that she acts in comparison to the other Forsaken who are
yeah.
like all the Forsaken seem to just be like Randall Thor, and she's like, I'm just living my life, hanging
Yeah.
out, my nice palace, my compulsed like
Yeah.
entourage of servants. Like, I think there's something really fun about her and the fact that she's in it for a completely different thing. Where some of the other characters are just like, I'll get you, Randall Thor, but she's just
Yeah.
kind of like kicked
It's
back
just-
and relaxing. Yeah.
but I feel like she can also be very, very scary
Mhm.
because compulsion in itself is a messed up thing. It's a very
Mhm.
messed up concept, and it's something that could get really messed up very easily. And
Yeah.
it's a very like terrifying thing, being controlled and being like compelled against your will.
Mhm.
It's something very whew, send shivers on your spine. And I really want to see how they're going to explore her character, especially after that shout out from in season 2. And she's
Yeah.
yeah, I really hope she's in season 3 too. I really hope she's in 3.
Yeah, I think you that's like a perfect talking point is like there is something absolutely horrifying about like having your agency taken away like that. So like you could introduce her as someone who's like kind of like bubbly and like romantic and a seductress, but then like once you see what she's capable of, there's like, oh no, but she's actually terrifying.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Where like Mo Gideon was like super playful. And I mean, she's also like going to be, I think, really scary once you get to see that other side of her. So I think all of the Forsaken so far have been so much more interesting than I initially expected, that
yeah.
each like I'm excited for each one.
And I feel like that's so clever of the writers because the
Mhm.
Forsaken are so interesting and there's so much more to explore than what was explored in the books. I've often said this, but I think it's one of the things that I feel like lacks a little bit in the Wheel of Time. It's some development, especially later on with some Forsaken.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of wasted potential, but I get it. I a lot of characters, I get what why some things happen, yeah, but I feel like Rafe exploring that and making Moghedian and Lanfear and Shamael so much more intense and interesting. And like for the second Moghedian was on screen in season 2, I was hooked. She's so terrifying. And
Yeah.
I couldn't have pictured a more perfect portrayal of like such an insane Forsaken, and she's the whole like
Yeah.
spider thing with the web. So cool, like so
That's
cool.
yeah, that's another thing because like I'm obsessed with like how they showed Mo Gideon's weaves looking like spider webs.
Yes.
So like if they continue with like that pattern to where like each Forsaken's weaves kind of have something special and look a little bit special, like thinking about what Grendel's is and like what
Yeah,
compulsion will look like with the weaves, I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. I'm so
yeah,
excited.
because it like Rafe has said so, and the team behind the Wheel of Time have said so. They said each person channels in a very unique way, and I think that's something we have seen. For example, Fear channels in a very confident way. She's confident in what she's doing. She knows
Mhm.
she's in control. She knows she's powerful. Moghedian was very that whole spider like meticulous, very like like she's weaving, kind of like I'm
Yeah.
weaving, I'm doing some close up work. I feel like Grandial, she's also very cocky and very confident, but she's also a performer. I feel like she's very performative and I feel like she's a show woman, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel like her weaves can be very graceful, but graceful with a certain like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's
Mhm.
deadly. It's,
Yeah.
pretty but deadly. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's something they could really explore. And with the other Forsaken, I just want them to have like different styles of channeling and different ways they move and do because that's so cool. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. So who was your next one? Your last
Um
one?
It's parent related to
Oh,
rivers. Let's go to the two rivers.
did you pick another one of mine? Okay, I'm glad I have backups.
uh, I think like the character uses many names, but I think one of them is the Slayer, right? Or it's the
Lord
Slayer, right?
Luke?
Or yeah,
Yeah.
Lord Luke. Yeah, yeah, Lord. I'm gonna use
Yeah.
Lord Luke. Oh my god, what a character! Extremely underrated, in my opinion. He was so
I
cool. Like his character is really cool, and I feel like he carried the Two Rivers plotline alongside Perrin. I just love that, and he's such a cool character, and he's somebody that at first we don't know who he is. Like we don't know he's
mhm.
the bad guy in Perrin's dream. Perrin's dream. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be
Another
multiple there.
mystery.
Yeah. Another mystery, and I feel like I just want the performance to be really mysterious. I want him to be
Mhm.
mysterious. I want him to be like, "Hi, I'm Lord Luke. I'm here in the Two Rivers helping. There's nothing
Yeah.
weird about me. I'm just gonna stand in the corner and look weird as hell." And I feel like Perrin is sometimes can be very distracted and not know what's going on, especially regarding feelings and all that. But like during those scenes, during that plot line, I feel like he can be very observant, and I feel like that whole dynamic between the two
Mhm.
It's gonna be very interesting. And I just remember another character that I forgot to say. Also parent related. I don't know why I didn't say her, but yeah. But anyways,
We
but
can
yeah.
we'll make space for her after Lord Luke then,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I know who you're talking about. I
Yeah.
think for me, Lord Luke, early book early books, Lord Luke is really interesting.
Oh
And
yeah.
like that whole connection to Tel'aran'rhiod, I think having him is so necessary because obviously, like in the books, Perrin can talk to wolves. In the show, like they can't have a conversation. So, like
Yeah.
if in the wolf game, he needs someone to communicate and act with because, like, he can't just be in the wolf dream, like looking at Hopper and Hopper looking at him, and they're like, "Hey, hey," and like
Hey,
they can't
yeah.
talk, like they can't really communicate. So, like he needs that person in the world of dreams, in the wolf dreams, act with, I think. And that's going to make things so much easier for the actors is to have someone to like play with and do those scenes with. And I mean, much, much later down the line, like I got a little bit of like Slayer fatigue where I'm like, okay, this guy again. All right, let's
Yeah.
wrap it.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah.
But so important for parents to know like his capabilities, what he can actually do in the wolf dream. So like that character, he might not be anyone's like favorite character, but like we will be seeing these two parallel storylines between Egwene learning what she needs to know from the wise ones and like the troubles and perils inside the world of dreams. And then on the other hand, the same going on for Perrin, which
Yeah.
like you can't have that without Lord Luke.
Exactly. And for whatever reason, I keep imagining. I don't know if you've watched The Boys, but the actor who
Mhm.
plays Butcher, I just keep imagining him as Lord Luke for whatever reason.
He
And
instantly got so much cooler in my
yeah,
mind.
exactly. I don't know why I keep imagining him cool as hell, but I don't even know how old Lord Luke is supposed to be. I don't remember, but whatever. I feel like I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
want, yeah, I want that like Dark Knight like type of vibe. I feel like that's the right
Ooh,
vibe to go for. You know, Dark Knight
yeah,
like Batman,
yeah.
Dark Knight in the shadows guy. That's
Mhm.
something like I really want to see, and I'm so
Mm,
excited for the Two Rivers plotline. I'm really excited. I feel like it's going to be one of the highlights of season 3 for sure.
I think so too. I think so too. Let me look and see who else I wrote down just in case. Well, no, because we have Fail. You want to talk about Fail?
Oh
Is
my
that who you
god!
meant? Is that who you
Yeah,
meant when you said okay?
yeah.
Okay. No,
Um,
I okay, like shameless Fail fan right here. Like I actually really enjoy her character. I I will admit like there are things that she does where I'm like, could we just erase that from the story, please? But
yeah,
I do think that there is something inside of her that's like a true leader, and I think it's
yeah,
really interesting to have that pair with Perrin who's like, I don't want to lead. I don't want to lead. And she's like, bro, like you've got to do
yeah.
this. You've got to
You
do
gotta
that.
do
Like
it, man.
get your head like on straight on your shoulders. And I do think that like that whole scene where like she comes back with like all of the people from Devon Ride in the Shadow Rising, like I sobbed when I read that the first time. Like I was
Yeah,
sobbing. And I mean, if you can find an actress who like really captures that essence of like tough but like caring, I think like she's going to be someone that a lot of people really love. And on top of that, like our two Rivers characters, like they don't know anything about like leading and politics and stuff like that. So like her coming in and kind of being like the next more like noble type character, because we have Elaine, and Elaine is Elaine. I love her, but Fail is more like understated. I feel like in
yeah.
terms of like leadership qualities.
Yeah, and I feel like ever since the actress was leaked or
Ye-
something, because we know who. Yeah, we kind
She's
of we.
she's a 10. She is one of the most gorgeous women I've ever
Oh yeah.
seen.
I when I saw the photo, I was like, "Oh my god, okay."
Yeah.
I remember that I saved her photo, and then I went to get a Marcus photo, and then I made like a bunch of tweets like about the two of them, like, "Oh my god, look at this
Mhm.
parent!" Like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!" And I feel like she's such like visually, she's like so stunning, and she has that like commanding vibe to her. Like you look at her and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
and
I
because
will
she
do
has like
whatever you
such a
say.
strong
Yes.
yeah, she has like such a strong jawline and like features, and I think
Mhm.
she's really beautiful. But I agree, I think Phil can be very controversial, I think, amongst
Yeah.
like the fandom. But she's my sister's favorite character alongside
Oh,
Perrin.
okay.
My sister loves her. Like my sister absolutely loves her.
Love that.
She also loves Perrin. Like my sister kind of picks the underdogs a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, she really loves them. And Fail, she definitely does some very questionable things I don't agree with. But her relationship with Perrin is it's complicated, I feel like, but there are like good moments, especially during the Shadow Rising, the Perrin plotline, and I feel like she's going to be crucial to his arc and to his character, and as a character, because I feel like she has a lot of potential. Like she doesn't have to be a device for Perrin's arc. Of course she is, but
Right.
she's also a character in herself, and I feel like we have to bring attention to that. But I definitely want to see her on screen, and I feel like it could be her introduction can be very funny because she's a hunter of the horn, but the horn after all that, like, yeah, and she can be like, no, actually the horn is like in here, or the horn, like, that whole thing.
Mhm.
And I feel like she has that banter that she has with Perrin. And there's this scene, I don't know, I don't remember which book. I think it's Shadow Rising or Dragon Reborn, I don't remember. But it's a scene where Perrin is like really badly like injured, and and she goes to him, and she's like, "Oh, my Perrin, my," it's like she tends to him, and I feel like that scene was very sweet, and it showed that she has affection for Perrin, but she
Mhm.
has sometimes weird ways of showing it. Sometimes she gets a little bit over herself at times, which I don't agree with. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think with Fail, one of the things that I really enjoy about her is like there's a very like loyal person underneath like all of the things that she does. Like even when you go like further later, into the series, there's events where like she's in a situation and like she's not thinking about herself. She's like, how do I get the people who are stuck here with me out of
yeah,
this? I'm responsible for them. And like, I'm going to do anything that I can to make sure that they come out of this. And like, after, like, it took so long for me to like really like her. Then when we got to that moment and you see like, she's loyal, she cares about her people, she's really stubborn, but like that also makes her like someone who's a fighter. So like she will not like just let go of something. She could be like injured, dying somewhere in a ditch, but she would like claw her way out of that if that means like she can save her people. And I think with like Perrin and like putting, their relationship forward in the show, I think Perrin really needs someone like that. Like, especially with the TV show, because like everything that he's experienced, I think it will be really good for that character to see someone who is like, oh no, like I fight for my people. You're one of my people now. Like, I'm not running away from this. And like, I'm hoping that they aren't like an immediate couple in the show, but
yeah.
like, it's kind of
There's
like a
builds
slow
going.
burn.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like, he sees her as like a fighter and someone who's like a protector in her own way, and then he's like, oh wow, like maybe I have feelings for her, but like it doesn't need to
Yeah.
be like, hey, we're getting married.
Yeah, we're gonna marry, guys. I
Yeah.
feel like, especially with the I don't remember her name, the parent's wife in season one,
Layla.
Layla. So that's a thing that happened. That's a major thing. And look, Perrin is somebody that wants to protect everyone, and that was one of the major reasons why Fail and him often had like fights, because Perrin was like, "Oh, you have to do what I say, or you're gonna get hurt," and Fail's like, "No, like I'm not gonna do that. I can fend for myself." You know, that whole thing.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's gonna be 10 times more intense in the show, especially because his first wife died. He
Yeah.
killed her. He killed her. So I feel like that's gonna be something that's gonna affect their relationship. But I do wonder some, because sometimes Fail and Perrin like can fight pretty badly.
Hmm.
I remember in the I think it was in the Shadow Rising. It was after the I think it was in the Shadow Rising. I don't remember actually. It was when basically they're like doing a fight, or and I think he pushed her off the room because of the axe. The
Oh
axe was like
yeah.
the bubble of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bubble of evil.
That
And then
was,
she came back.
yeah.
Yeah, she came back, and I think she slapped him or something. It was wild, and I was like, "All right, take it
Girl.
back." I don't. Yeah, girl, chill. Like I don't like those types of things. I do wonder if it's gonna be like, how do you say, it's gonna be changed, or they're gonna take it
Hmm.
out. They're gonna have to do something about that part of it, because it is, unfortunately, it is a part of it. So I don't know.
I don't necessarily want to see any like relationship assault going on. Like
Yep,
I
me
would be
neither.
perfectly fine if they just like put that aside, never
Yeah,
came back to it again. They can, there's other ways to show, conflict without it being like people slapping each other, which
yeah,
I mean, it really, I don't know. It doesn't really, it's not a necessary thing for me. I
yeah,
would prefer it
yeah.
the other way. But like, I don't know, like, will we even have a bear lane to like cause conflict? Or like, will it
We have
just
to.
be I
We
I
have
could have
to.
picked her. I could have picked Bear Lane to put in this episode, but like I don't know. I don't know. Like, do they have time for that? I would love her, but no.
Maybe not in season three. I didn't pick her because of that. I don't think she's gonna be in season three. I feel like she's gonna be in the show, but in like season four or season five, something along those lines, something
Yeah,
later. It's too many
it would
characters already. It's too many characters.
it would be too soon because if they introduced Verlaine, it would be like Perrin and some girl, like Perrin and Fail, like
Ferris
it's
will be like,
me. He's not gonna care
okay,
if like
yeah,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah,
So any last thoughts before we wrap things up?
yeah. I have like a character that I have a feeling he's gonna be in season three,
Ooh.
but like a very small like teaser thing. I feel that's gonna be one of the Forsaken, our
Ooh.
singer, the
Yes.
singer. And
Yes.
look, I feel like he's gonna be a teaser for now. For
So
now.
like the Mo
Because
Gideon of last season.
yeah,
Like how Mo Gideon's
because for
introduced
example,
and like
like
real
we are
quick and
gonna
then
yeah. I feel like it's gonna be something like that, because we're gonna get Dragon Reborn, Shadow, parts of Shadow Rising in season three, I think. But like Fires of Heaven is way more Asmodean focused, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's something for season four, not something for season, like there's not enough time. But I really, I just I don't know. I want a really cool introduction, because I love his character. He's one of my favorite Forsakens. I just love him, and his whole dynamic with Rand is like, oh my god, like what's going on? Because Asmodian he's not like the others. Like he's
Mhm.
not. Sometimes you wonder which side is he on. Like what's he doing? Like what's going on? What are you doing? Really, and that's like a fun thing. And I really like his character, and I want him as like to have like a small part, like at the end of the season or something. Yeah.
He's he's my favorite male Forsaken. So like that, I mean, yeah, absolutely. 100%. He's someone that I could see coming in at the end of the season like Mo Gideon did last season and just like throw a wrench in the whole storyline where it's like, oh no, oh no. But then it's like, but wait, like there's more. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's definitely very interesting. I just love his character so much. I wish like his character had been a little bit more explored, like, but you know, it is what it is.
same. Same. So, everyone, thanks for watching. If there's someone that you really want to see in season three, let me know in the comments, like and share. And thank you so much for joining me. It was so good to have you back once again. Maybe we will do this again this summer.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you so much for having me. Like I
Yeah,
had so much
always,
fun. Yeah, I
always
have
a
so much fun.
pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.